And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Pong Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, what is up? Yeah, I'm in a different location because I'm in California. God knows what California can do to you. Sunshine, all that good stuff, but not a good studio. But I am here for the Weighing In podcast with my man, Josh Thompson. See, there you go. I finally gave you your little cheer and your props, Mr. Sauna Man. You thought he's like, oh, I've been working. I'm in the sauna. The sauna's not a work.
That's work, baby. That's work.
It's relaxation, man.
I got a quick little lift in this morning, and then I did 20 minutes on the stair thing. Then I hit the sauna for about 30-35 minutes, and then rushed home to get this podcast in, baby. You know me, I'm an early riser, getting after the grind, doing my thing. But how you enjoying this California weather?
It's actually nice. It always is. It always is. And you got to say, ooh, it's a lot with the sunshine, a little bit warmer. Oh yeah, this is nice.
Yeah. But is it worth the taxes? That's the question.
No, absolutely not.
It's not.
No, I look at my pocketbook, which is not with me right now.
By the way, let's tell the story. John just lost his wallet in New York, leaving CBS Studios from New York when they did the New Year's Eve show. So he spent New Year's Eve in the airport because he had lost his wallet, all this other stuff, right? Now he's headed out to California with Miss McCarthy, and Miss McCarthy and him decided to stop and get Starbucks. And John, I'm gonna let you finish the story. Where'd it go, John? Where'd it go? Like, where's Waldo? Where's the wallet? Where's the wallet? Where's Waldo? Where's the wallet?
Where's Waldo it? Man, I'll tell you what. Again, I get off the plane in Los Angeles, right? And I start walking out, and then I do my normal chi-chi. Gone.
Wait, where's it at?
Go through my bag, not there. I'm like, son of a bitch. Did it again. So all the credit cards, had to cancel those, the ID stuff. And so now it's like one of those, at least I have clear so I can stick my eye in the thing and get myself out of the plane.
I was I've been to a couple airports where they don't have clear. What do you do?
Are you kidding? Most of them don't. In fact, I have to fly up to Portland, Oregon here tomorrow and go see my mom. And it's a matter of they don't have clear. So I'm going to have to go through all kinds of shit without ID, giving them photos of stuff and everything. Like, it is what it is.
I was talking with Miss McCarthy offline, and her and I were talking about the fact that every time she travels with you, it's like traveling with like a 12-year-old who just can't keep track of their stuff, their jacket, their hat, pretty much. If you recall, if everyone recalls, if you guys have been listening to our show for a long time, the key fob, he left it on the car in the truck, and then left Miss McCarthy to handle it all as he jumped on a flight and left the town.
No, that's not true. That is a false story. I was taking her to the airport.
Okay, whatever, same thing. So then the wallet from New York, and now the wallet again. Man, you're a wreck. This has all been within like the last month and a half.
All right, then there's the better one here, man. I've got my my phone, right, and I'm cutting logs, and there's this ivy that we have. It's not ivy. It's this nasty thorn vine that goes up into the trees, and so it's all over the logs and stuff. And so as I'm walking, cutting, it wraps around my leg, and then I go to take a step, and it holds my leg, and I actually go and sit down on one of the logs, right?
Okay.
And so my beautiful iPhone is smashed right here. So I take it into a guy, ask, how much does it replace the screen? Oh, it's going to be, $240 or something like that to replace the screen. Okay. Boom. Leave him the phone. Go out, do all kinds of stuff. Come back. I didn't realize you had the iPhone you have. That is a different screen. And it even shows it on the computer. $394 just for the piece of glass. And he goes, if I charge you $50, he goes, then it's $50. He goes, it's going to cost you $500 to replace the glass on the iPhone. I said, give me that fucking piece of shit. I'm out of here. I paid $500 for a freaking piece of glass.
It used to be
not doing well. Not doing well, Josh. I'm making mistakes.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, your age is really starting to come through.
Boom, big time.
Yeah.
Have you thought about what you have to look forward to?
No. I know, man. I'm going to be saving you quite a bit moving on, but you know what? Though? It's worth it. We've actually built a pretty good friendship. I'm okay with putting myself out there for you. But hey, you know what though? There's been a lot of stuff going on. Before we get started though, why don't you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up and that bell so you guys get the notifications. And we want to thank you guys for continuing to listen to our show. There was a lot of things that we were going to talk about in terms of fan questions today. We want to answer all of our fans' questions, get it all pumping, get it all going. But then, since the last time we filmed, it's been drop of fight announcement. So guess what? This whole show is going to be pretty much a recap of a bunch of new fight announcements that came out when we just did a bunch of them last show. But that means the sport is moving in the right direction. We're going to have a busy year and a great year. I think 2023 for MMA is going to be a fantastic year. And we want to make sure that we are giving you guys the best analysis we possibly can for all these fight announcements. And if we have any time left over at the end, we're going to go ahead and answer some of those fan questions moving forward. But let's go ahead and jump into some stuff. John, do you have a screen in front of you or do you want me to do it?
I have a screen that's just about this big.
Okay. But hey, we've got Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya, number 4. Just the second time though in MMA, but I think this is going to be I think it's going to be a very similar fight, but I think that Izzy's going to be able to pull it off, John. I think that he's going to be a little bit smarter. I think he's going to come in a little bit better shape, and I also think that he's going to wrestle a little bit more. I said that the last fight, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's not going to wrestle." And what did he do?
No, we talked about him. We knew he was going to wrestle. He's a smart. He's a smart fighter. Let me ask you this. A guy beats you. Now, the first one in kickboxing, you look and you go, "I don't think I lost that." Okay, but then he goes and he starches you.
Yeah.
So you got that loss, and there's nothing you can say. Hey, it happens. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then you have an MMA fight, and you're doing well. And he puts you out again. Tell me it's not in the back of your mind. Josh Thompson. Oh, you know it is.
It's absolutely in the back of your mind, John. But then also what's in the back of my mind is you remember, I think, at the end of round 2 where I had you on stilts and you were saved by the bell. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that when I put you on stilts?
I do remember that. I do remember that. And I made it through something you couldn't make it through.
Yeah, okay, but I'm Israel Adesanya, and you know what, though? I'm a positive thinker. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that I had you on stilts, and I was outclassing you that whole fight. I was outclassing you the whole fight. I mean, I was up for what? Yeah, I get it. I know it doesn't matter when it comes down to the 5th round. You never stop fighting until that last bell rings, until they raise your hand. That's really what it comes down to.
And this is my point, and this is why I did it. Everything that we're talking about makes this a fight you got to see. Because it is. It's a great rematch. It is something I think that needed to happen. I thought Izzy deserved. We talk all the time about, does that champion deserve a rematch right away? Absolutely. No doubt about it. And so I think it's a great rematch. I think Izzy absolutely has a chance to win that fight. And I think Alex could put him away again. So that makes it fun to watch. I
could also see Izzy putting him away. I could see that.
Absolutely. He had a chance. Like you said, we talked about that second round. At the end of that round, dude, he was doing the freaking herky-jerky legs, man. He was having problems.
I caught the Zab Judah because, when Mayweather had Zab, I think it was Mayweather had Zab like that. Man, he was on the stinky leg. I look at Izzy. To me, Izzy is the better kickboxer cleanliness-wise, but obviously doesn't possess the power and doesn't have the size that Pereira has. So when I look at that fight, I look at Izzy's got to be slick as a 12-year-old, like an FBI agent, that kind of thing. He's got to be slick and just keeping his distance, doing what he did, but he's got to keep his back off the fence, John.
Yes.
Every time he put his back on the fence, he had huge problems. And I mean, like just getting touched. And he was able to survive all the way up until that 5th round when fatigue had set in a little bit. He was tired in that 5th round. And so I think he's going to come in a little bit better shape. And I think he's going to be focused on making sure in that 5th round he's got the pop and the bounce in his step to go ahead and fight those off.
And I agree with you that he has to keep his back off the fence. And he showed that he could do that, but it taxes him. it puts him in a position where he's having to work hard when he normally doesn't have to. And a lot of that has to do with the size. He's used to being the longer, taller fighter. And the length and size of Alex causes him problems. It just does he can't do exactly the things that has made him successful through all those fights with other guys that he's outsized as far as length. He can't keep his hand out in the same fashion. Everything's a little bit different. And again, that's what makes it a great rematch. Can't wait to see it. Well,
the length and the size, though, John, definitely plays a factor. But he's never had to worry about someone touching his chin because of the length and the size.
Because of the length and size.
Someone that has the power that Pereira has. That's the other thing. Like, just understanding, like, now you're just as big as me, if not a little bit bigger, and you're just as long as me, and you obviously weigh a lot more, and you possess this power that I just can't seem to avoid. It really, like you said, puts that in the back of your head. But if I'm Izzy, I'm living off of the moments that I had in that fight. Basically, the rest of the fight. Every moment of that fight, I dominated. I just stuck and moved, got some takedowns, was hit you with some clean shots. I had you on the stanky leg. Those are the memories that I'm playing back in my head to get my mind right. If I'm Izzy, I'm walking out to that cage going, I'm going to do the same thing I did to you last time, except in the 5th round, I'm going to have more pep in my step. I'm going to have more of a bounce in my step. I'm going to be able to touch you up in that 5th round and keep my back off the fence and push you around, make you respect me more, keep my speed there, keep my ability to move laterally and maybe even wrestle a little bit in that 5th round. He didn't have that in the 5th round last time, and it cost him the fight.
He can take the fight to the ground, be in the top position. He can do well. And the big thing is, you're saying it, power. And there's just a difference. Just in sparring, you'll spar with one guy, and all of a sudden it's just different. You get hit by him, and there's a weight that hits you from that guy.
Maynard.
There's a buzz that comes with every shot that he lands on you, and that's Pereira. He's got that. You can look at Sean Strickland. Okay, we know how slick Sean is as far as his stand up and his ability to take a shot. And take a look, his fights after. Take a look at all the fights with Cannonier. Cannonier couldn't, hurt him, never really hurt him. Take a look at his fight with Imavov, never hurt him. Look at what Alex did. Boom, boom, done. He has that, that thing that, everyone wants, but only a few possess.
Yeah, I got the same feeling when I spar with Gray Maynard, man. I hated sparring with Gray because as I recall, I never once was able to take him down, ever. And the whole time we trained together, and it was the worst because you knew you had to stand with him. You're not going to waste the energy trying to take him down. I didn't want him on top of me. I would just grind and grind. I would just keep pushing on him until I could try to press him to the fence, make him tired, whatever it was. But I don't think I ever got a takedown on him, legit, like full on takedown. I was able to get some little trips and stuff on him, but it wasn't like I shot a double leg and blasted through him. And those are those guys. Those are those guys that you're like, damn, in the back of your mind, every time you hit me, it stings a little bit. You always have that in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
But with Izzy, he's always been the slicker kickboxer, and I think he's the slicker kickboxer again. He's the same thing, but he's just got to make sure that he still has that same energy in the 4th and the 5th round, those championship rounds against a world-class kickboxer like Alex. But John, my next question though is to go off the topic of the actual fight and get right into, let's just say Izzy wins. Do we get an automatic rematch again? I mean, it would only be fair because this guy's beat him 4 times. Why is he getting an automatic rematch? And then why wouldn't I get one right back?
Because they don't want to get into the Brandon Moreno versus Deiveson Figueiredo scenario. I just don't see that happening. And based upon the fact that you look at Alex's record, he is young in his career as far as MMA. As far as, what is he, 7-1 now? 8-1? I'm sorry.
6-1.
6-1? Damn. I thought. And so you take a look at that, and then you take a look, well, yeah, he beat him once, but then he got beat in the rematch. I think that they're going to put him through other fights before they'll give him the rematch.
Yes, yeah, that's not fair to me because look, they protected him. They protected him to get him there. Am I correct? They protected him. They gave him some good.
They didn't protect him, but they put him against good matchups. So
they put him against that's protecting him, John.
Yeah,
we both know that.
Well, I don't want to say it because he fought tough guys. It's
he
just
did.
Those guys were tailor made for him.
there were stand-up guys that didn't have spectacular wrestling. Yes. I was really hoping to see the Jamal Hill fight and Alex fight. That would have been a great fight. I would have loved to have seen. But I know Jamal Hill is never going to die. We're going to make a shirt of Jamal Hill, and we're going to put quoted by Podcast Dave. Quote. But I look at, I want to see that fight. If it does go down where Izzy wins, and he wins by a decision, and Alex knocked him out, I think they got to do it again. I'm sorry. But the other thing, too, is Izzy's already wiped out the division. So really, who is he waiting to fight? He's going to fight Whitaker again? Who's going to wait to fight? You might as well have him fight for a third time. Get the trilogy out of it. The MMA trilogy, I should say. Yeah. Because that's what you brought Alex on for. You brought him on because you wanted to spice up this division and give Izzy someone to compete with. Well, you found him. You found the guy that knocked him out last fight and has knocked him out before. What's he going to do? Go fight Whitaker again? He's going to fight Paulo Costa again? Who's he going to fight? He's beat all those guys. So you might as well have the third fight in MMA. 5 fights for 2 guys. I mean, they're obviously very well matched. The sad part is that Izzy will have only won one of those at the end of all of it. But if it does come down to the point where Izzy gets this win, which I believe he's gonna, I think he's gonna be able to get this win. He may, if he does get the knockout, it'll happen early. If he doesn't get the knockout, he's gonna win by decision. But I think he's gonna come in better shape. He's gonna come more laser focused. He's gonna come in all these things that his coach was able to pull away from that MMA fight, and they're gonna make those little tiny tweaks and adjustments. And I think that Izzy's gonna come away the champ.
Okay.
Good fight, though.
I think he's going to have a hard time doing it. I'm not saying he can't do it, but you're right in this. In the end, look, Izzy is a volume striker. He's not that knockout guy for the most part, as far as he'll hit you with volume till he does knock you out. But with what happened in that first fight, you don't think that Alex's coaches are going to go back to the drawing board and say, all right, this is what we need to fix. I can't have you doing this. This is what I want you to do with him. Mm-hmm. And he can do those things. He has the ability to do those things to Izzy, as far as putting him up against the cage, putting him in positions where, when you look at the clinch situations, a lot of those situations wore Izzy down. I don't think they wore Pereira down the same way. So there's so much involved in this fight, and it could go either way. But that's why people are going to want to watch it.
Well, the other thing you guys have to take into consideration is, we have a guy that his main training partner was Glover Teixeira, and Glover is now retired. And as soon as I realized that I was never going to fight again, my ass never went to the gym. I was like, screw this. I'm not trying to hang out in there and get hit more. I mean, I understand that he will be there for him.
Difference being, you had your own gym and you trained at another gym, really.
Yeah.
Okay? Glover has his gym, and that's the gym he trains at, and that's the gym that Alex trains at, so he'll be there.
I know he'll be there, but the ability or the willingness to take those shots, to spar more, to do all of those things, you think it's going to be the same as it was when – because remember, Glover was getting ready for a fight, or just started getting ready for a fight right when Alex was getting ready to fight Izzy as well. So they were kind of training partners, making each other better, getting ready for their big title fights. That's not the case now. So is he going to get the same Glover? I know they're friends. Let's put friendship aside. It just comes down to that if I don't have a fight coming up, I'm giving you the best I can, but I'm also not in the best of shape. I'm not the guy that's going to be there in rounds 4 and 5.
Yeah. But let's be honest. If you're Glover, you have more time to spend on Alex now, because none of it's about you. So you have more time to spend on him, more time to look at film, more time to do these things. And you can always bring people in. You bring people in that are going to match what he's going to face. Even though he's used to what Izzy looks like, what Izzy brings, but you bring those people in. So I don't see a problem with it.
I think a perfect guy for him to bring in, because now he's not with them anymore, is Luke Rockhold.
That would not be a bad one.
That's a great. He's tall. He's long. Luke's 6'3", almost pushing 6'4".
Pretty slick stand up when he does.
Pretty
great
slick
kicks.
stand up. He's got good kicks. Yeah, great kicks. If I'm Pereira, I'm trying to bring him in. Or if I'm Izzy, I'm trying to bring him in.
And if I'm Luke, I stay away from that.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. Either one of those guys, whoever can snatch up Luke Rockhold first to bring him out for some sparring, to mimic some stuff, especially a little bit of grappling, a little bit of wrestling in there.
Grappling-wise, that would really help.
Yes.
With Alex. Luke is slick on the ground. So.
Yeah. Well, Luke is really good friends with Glover, and he's good because we all met Glover through Chuck. And we're all, and we've known Chuck for, 20 years. I've known Chuck 20 years. Yeah, forever. And so, that all made, and with Hack, Hack's been a good friend of all of ours for the longest time, since the Chuck and Antonio Benuelos and those guys, that back in the day. But I think Luke would probably for sure like to do that for him, for Pereira. All right. Well, hey, either way, good fight number 5. But John, let's talk about how spectacular it is though that he's 6-1 and he's the UFC champ.
He's not only the UFC champ, he's someone that, a lot of people believe you go up to light heavyweight right now and give Jamal Hill problems.
I think so.
And
I think so.
I'd have to agree. The styles match up as far as Jamal Hill is not a ground guy. He's not really looking for takedowns. He wants to stand up and use his power. So does Alex. That would be a great fight.
Yeah.
And at 6-1, look at, Jamal Hill doesn't have a ton of experience. He's 12-1 now, right?
Yeah.
But he's good.
It's the new breed, baby.
It's all about being good.
We're all getting old. The new breed's coming in. These guys, but at 205, John, those guys, there's who's at 205? You
got Blachowicz, who's getting old.
You have Ankalaev is pretty much the only only good wrestler.
Yeah, he's the best wrestler out of the group.
Yeah. Let me see, 205. You got Ankalaev. I would have said Glover, but Glover's, now retired. The rest of them, I don't think that. Nikita, he can wrestle. He's not a fantastic wrestler, even though his last name is Krylov.
Not a fantastic one.
He's not a fantastic one.
Span's got good stand-up. Really haven't seen much in the wrestling. You just look down the hood. Jimmy Crute likes to bang. He's got good ground, but Khalil, stand-up guy. Dustin Jacoby, stand-up guy. Dominic Reyes, stand-up guy. Paul Craig, ground guy, but going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and no wrestling though. By the way, that's the thing.
No wrestling. Good jiu-jitsu.
Great jiu-jitsu.
So.
I look at that. he could go, and he's physically the I saw the video, the pictures and images of him yesterday. I believe it was, he's walking around 230 or 228, 232, somewhere in there. Huge, man, huge for the weight. So if he could step right in at 205 and fight Jamal Hill, and and even Prochaska. Prochaska leaves himself out of position a lot to be touched and to be kicked and to be punched and all those things. So. There's none of these guys are fantastic wrestlers. Ankalaev is, but I said this in a tweet just recently. Ankalaev, he's got to be careful he doesn't turn into a Michael Chandler. And he's nowhere near that. But I'm saying that someone who has the wrestling and the tech and the ability. The same thing with Kamaru Usman. We fell in love a little bit with the stand-up. Gray Maynard, it happened to Gray as well. You fall in love with the stand-up. You're good at the stand-up. It's less effort. But you should understand that your wrestling is levels above these other fighters, and their ground game is levels below your ground game. Not just the wrestling, but the jiu-jitsu portion of it, the bottom control, the top control, all of those things. You are better than them everywhere. I'm surprised that his coaches and his trainers in Ankalaev hasn't made that more of a focus, because that fight with Jan shouldn't have been as close as it was to a draw, but it shouldn't have ever went to that direction. From those shin kicks or whatever they were, all of those built up because, well, they were remember they were inside. They were inside on the shin bone.
But still, you take a look and a lot of people are gonna, say things about it. I thought Jan had a great game plan. I thought he stuck with his game plan. Mm-hmm. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he took Ankalaev out of his game for a lot of that fight, and that's why Jan was in that sucker.
I agree with you. I do. All right, next fight. Dave, what you got?
All right, so that's UFC 287, which is April 8th. That's your main event. Yeah. The co-main that was announced is Gilbert Burns versus George Masvidal.
John, Gilbert Burns has been asking for this fight for a long time, and Masvidal has been MIA for a while now. I'm surprised, to be honest, out of all the fights that Masvidal chose to take, it was this one.
Okay, you can say that, but you could be surprised that out of all the fights that Gilbert Burns was going to take, why would you take it against a guy who's got multiple losses coming into it?
I feel like it's a money fight for him. This is a little bit. I think this is going to bring a little bit more attention. And I don't know if Gilbert has the pay-per-view numbers available to him or not, because he is a former champion. Sometimes they allow you, as long as you're the co-main in the main event, to still keep your pay-per-view numbers in your contract if you were a former champion. Or no, sorry, he wasn't a former. No, he wasn't a former champion. Sorry, no, he fought for the title. You're right. So maybe he was able to wiggle that in, as a co-main or a main event. I don't know.
I look at it and I know that Gilbert has feelings about Masvidal. You know, there's been words between the two and stuff. This is not a good fight for Masvidal. Just saying it. Not a good fight for Masvidal at all. I look at this and, you know, look at what Gilbert Burns did in his last fight, Josh. Look at people who say what they want, but Neil Magny is a good fighter. He is a solid guy who is, you know, his stand-up is funky as far as, you know, he just pop, a lot of, you know, light shots. But man, he just puts it on you. His defensive wrestling is good. He actually will wrestle and take you down. His goddamn ground game is good. And Gilbert Burns walked through him on that fight. And you look and you go, man, you know, yeah, he lost to Usman. So what? You know, it's like, yeah, he lost to a great fighter. Okay, it can happen on any day. You know, but I just look at this and they're just in two different planes as far as where their careers are at. Mm-hmm. And I look at this and I go, you know, fun fight to watch. But if you're a Masvidal fan, which I am, you look and you go, you should not be in that fight. The ground game is going to cause him problems if it hits the ground, because Gilbert is a different level of ground fighter. He's going to be able to move around on George and get to the positions that he wants to get to as long as there's time in the round. And the power. Look, Gilbert's got power. He may not have the slickest stand-up, but it's good. You know, and I will say that I think, you know, Masvidal is a much slicker stand-up fighter, but power changes everything too, man. And you know, Masvidal has to worry about the takedown. Gilbert doesn't. That changes the stand-up right there.
Yep. I look at it whereas Masvidal, he'll be the slower fighter too. I mean, he's aging out kind of. He's at the 38, 39 age, I believe is where he's at. He's still slick as a dog on the feet when it comes to the kicks. He's got powerful kicks when he throws them. He just doesn't throw them as much. He threw them a lot against Nate, but he doesn't throw them regularly enough. Like, he throws so much heat behind him. It's hard to throw that much power behind him and stay consistent with him throughout a 5-round fight or a 3-round fight. Yeah. Do we know if this is going to be a 5-round fight, because it is the co-main and they have been able to do it? It's 3.
I would doubt.
So that'll favor that. That'll help George a little bit. That'll help Masvidal a little bit. He'll be able to let go a little bit more, you know, not have to worry about conserving his energy. Yeah. He's always been someone that he has a gas tank, but he idles at it sometimes. You know, he always wants to kind of conserve it. He doesn't want to run it all the way on empty, and most fighters don't. But he's someone that tries to keep that consistent pace. Gilbert right now, I think he understands how close he was to being the champ against Kamaru Usman. He had him rocked in that first fight. Not in that first fight, but in that fight, he had him rocked. At the speed of his hands, he leaves himself out of position, but he's fast with them. You know, he's a little sloppy sometimes with the hands, but he's fast with them because he doesn't have anything to not jeopardized by much, because he can, if you take me down, if I leave myself out of position, you take me down, that's where I want to be anyways. Yeah. If you get close to me and I clinch you, that's where I want to be anyways. You know, so I look at this fight. It is a bad fight for Masvidal, and I'm a huge Masvidal fan. You know, he came up with the Strikeforce and the Bellator and then the UFC, or all that stuff together. You know, he's a talented fighter, and but like I said, he's aging out. It happens to all of us. Everybody. And it's going to happen to Gilbert too. It's going to happen to everyone else below us. It's always going to happen. So I look at this fight with. This is a stepping stone for Gilbert if he can get past him and make it. He's got to make it look impressively. He's got to make it look impressive. If he doesn't make it look impressive, the UFC's going, all right, what are we going to do with you? You're ranked number 2 or number 3. Now what? What do we do?
You got to love the fact he's wanting to stay busy.
Yeah.
If there's one thing about Gilbert, he's saying he's always trying to get after fights. He's always wanting to be out there, and he's willing to take on everybody.
Yeah.
So he's the guy you want.
Yeah, whereas you have guys that are just kind of placeholders like Colby Covington, who's Podcast Dave's best love buddy, who just strokes Colby every second he gets. Now, I like Colby, okay, but at some point you're going to have to fight and defend that number 2 or number 1 spot. You're going to have to do it. So that's going to have to happen soon because you're coming up pretty close on a year time, right? I think a year time when he fought. So, okay, next.
For Colby, though, the UFC is looking, they want Colby versus Khamzat.
Smart.
That's the fight they want. And I don't blame them. I think it's the right fight to have, but I don't know if Colby wants it.
I mean, I'd really like to see Bilal and Colby.
Yeah,
I'd really like to see Bilal and Colby because I think the lead up to that would be fun. Given the trash talk that Colby's talked about, like a little bit of the U.S. market. I don't know how to say this. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, the politicalization of Colby Covington and how he's brought it into his persona.
Yeah,
and the things that he'll say.
John, this is why I have you on the show, to make sure I don't say anything stupid.
Sometimes.
This is great. John, this is fantastic.
And yet somehow you still find a way.
Says the Scottish guy. Oh, jeez. Do I need to remind you about John Mahal Hill? I even need to remind you?
Keep on going back to John Mahal.
Yeah. John Mahal. That's all I got to Hill. That's all I got to say. That's all
I have to Hill.
I had a Josh moment.
That's all. All right, next fight.
Let's go.
Next fight here on the same card, coming right before that, George Masvidal, Gilbert Burns, is Kevin Holland versus Ponzinibbio.
Good fight, John. Good
fight. It is a good fight, but it's one that I look at and I go, all right, Kevin, let's see what you learned. Because look, in the stand-up, he can stay with Ponzinibbio for a long time. I think he absolutely has the length, the speed. He's got power in his hands. He can knock people out. But he definitely has an advantage if the fight hits the ground. Just like he did against Wonder Boy, where he would stand back up and move back and let him get up. And it's like, all right, let's see if, you played that game. You realized it probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. Did you learn from it? Are you a smarter fighter now? Let's find out.
I think he can stand quite a bit with Ponzinibbio based on that. Stephen Thompson's a different level of stand-up. And John, as you recall, I thought Kevin Holland, was going to be the faster fighter, going to be the better. Yeah. He's going to be able to use his reach and his range. And I thought he was going to be able to use his age and all those other advantages over Stephen Thompson. And Stephen Thompson said, I'll show you, Josh Thompson.
That's right.
You son of a bitch, trying to fucking overlook
What Stephen Thompson said was, Josh, you have to listen to your partner, John, because he does know. Okay. And he proved it.
That is the furthest thing that Stephen Thompson said. But
I'm pulling Stephen on the show.
Stephen did call me up and go, hey, bro, how did you really go against me? I was like, man, you just looked old your last fight. No, I don't let him know. No, man. But Stephen Thompson's the nicest guy, great guy. Different level of stand-up, though, than Ponzinibbio. Yeah. Just cleaner striking,
just and a completely different style. Ponzinibbio, a lot of boxing centric, uses his hands a lot, and that's not usually a problem for Kevin.
Yeah, and I agree with you on the ground though. There's definitely a big advantage for Kevin Holland. The body style, all of those things. Even off the back, Kevin Holland off the back is dangerous to Ponzinibbio. But I think Ponzinibbio probably should have worked his way out of that.
Yeah, and I'm being honest, I still think that Kevin Holland in the welterweight division, I think he can go places. I really do. Absolutely. He's got the skill level.
Absolutely.
It's, do you have the fight IQ level?
Yeah. Yeah, because when you look at the fight with Stephen Thompson, had he was able to keep those takedowns, he could have potentially stole those 2 rounds, 3 rounds that he needed to get, and he could have gotten them more frequently because as you get one, The second one comes a little bit easier. The third and the fourth, they just start lining up, and then you're able to keep that stand-up guy guessing, freezing them long enough to get a takedown or freezing them long enough to land a shot.
Josh, I want to put you in a place. I want you to think about this. Think about yourself being the main corner in Kevin Holland's corner at that fight. How would you have been feeling?
Frustrated was not the word. What's the word above frustrated?
Yeah, pissed.
Irritated.
You'd have been
just
irritated
off.
Pissed off because you're like, God damn it, man. I spent all this time with you. I love you. I know, the road to victory for you. You have that road available to you, and you're refusing to take it. What in the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what you told him. Lie. Get the win and then say, hey, man, I had to do it. Okay. It's part of the sport.
Those of you guys if you guys ever went back and watched my fight with Gilbert, the second one, the funny part is that was Hav and Bob in the corner after round 3. They had to switch because Hav was in the corner for the first 3 rounds. And after round 3, Hav was in the corner. I'm like, how'd Hav get in here? And it's like, couldn't fucking get through to you
anymore. Yeah,
couldn't get through to you anymore. It's like, I'm just getting super mad at you. He's like, I can't get through to him. So, yeah, it was pretty funny, man. I was like, wait, what are you doing in the cage?
Hi, Hav.
So it was funny. Oh, man. All right. Next.
All right, next fight we got here. So I wanted to, actually, before we go to the next fight, I wanted to this is going to be the lineup for 287. Are there any other fights here? Well, I have Gastelum and Curtis.
No. I'm sorry, man.
I have that over here somewhere.
That fight right there, Rob Font and Adrian Yanez. That should be probably the fight I'm sorry. I think that fight will potentially steal the show.
Dick absolutely has the ability to, because both of those guys in the stand-up are good and slick. And I honestly think, it's one of those ones you'd like to say, it's not going to go to the finish. I do think it probably will, because they're both that good.
Yeah.
But it's a question of who lands the better shots throughout that time. But I thought Kelvin Gastelum against Chris Curtis is a good matchup. That's a really good fight. That's one that you can look forward to and say, man, Chris has his style and comes forward. Kelvin's very similar in the way that, a stand-up brawler. That's why I call him my, MMA Roberto Duran. So that's a great fight to watch.
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of both those guys, and I'm a big fan of Kelvin Gastelum. I had a chance to really sit and chat with him a little bit at one of the Bellators. I can't try to remember which one it was, if it was Chicago or not. I think it was Chicago. Anyways, he was extremely nice, super respectful, just a very, very, very nice person. Soft-spoken.
He's a great guy. Great guy.
Very, very nice. If you guys ever get a chance, he's very approachable, very friendly. Just a chance to see him. Don't be afraid to walk up and say hi to him. He's a fantastic person. That's it for me on that card. Dave, what else? What you got?
Okay. All right. Just making sure John's good. All right. Let me just check my fights real quick, because I do want to save the boxing one. Okay, so we got that one.
Yes.
All right, let's talk Dan Hooker versus Julian Turner.
That's a great matchup. When I saw this, I said, man, you know what? This is where Mick Maynard and Sean are really looking at things and going, well, you know what? Jalen Turner is this freak at 6'3", and now he's using that length well and stuff. Let's put Dan Hooker against it, because Dan Hooker's a dog. I don't care about the record. I know he's got the losses. Doesn't matter to me. He still can fight. This dude went the 5 rounds with Dustin Poirier, where, that was a fantastic fight. He's had the big fights. He's come back and shown himself to be just a gangster, as far as, he'll stand with people. He'll be smart in fights. All of it. This is a big turning point fight for Jalen Turner. This is that fight where, if he can get past Dan Hooker, he's putting himself out there. Hey, I'm the thing that you need to watch, coming into this. But I love the fact that they put this fight together.
Yeah, I'm glad that Dan Hooker went back up to 55. I mean, honestly,
had to.
Because he's got the body frame to go to 70. He's what, 6'1"? It's like,
he's at least 6 foot, 6'1".
6'1", somewhere in there.
This is when he'll be looking up at somebody, though.
Yeah, he's got the broad shoulders. He will be looking up at Jalen Turner. I'm interested to see if there's videos that I've seen of him fighting. He's 6 foot. It says 6 foot. He looks
he's taller than that.
But okay, but he's 32 years old. I've seen videos of him with Izzy, of them sparring. Yeah. He's got a decent ground game. He's got good control. He's got nasty ground and pound, or at least Izzy found out he did. To watch those two guys spar,
and it's not easy. Like, it's not easy. It's not easy grappling with 16-ounce gloves. You've done it. I've done it. It's like putting big old clogs on your hands trying to hold on to someone. So,
yeah, they my mother's calling me. Sorry, I got to tell her I'm busy. My mother's calling me. She lives in New Jersey, so she lives like about a quarter mile away from Frankie Edgar. She lives like probably about a quarter mile away. Oh man. Anyways, this is to me a fantastic fight. Jalen Turner, both Dan Hooker's coming off of a win. Jalen's coming off of a loss, correct?
No, Jalen's been on a hot streak, baby. Right now.
Maybe I have maybe I'm thinking of no, yeah, he did win. That's Hooker.
Dan Hooker
came off.
Hooker.
Okay.
Yep, that's Hooker.
Plus.
And then
okay. Oh, he's coming. Oh no, he's on the win.
5 wins.
I was thinking of
5 wins in a row.
Got it. I was like, oh man, who lost the last fight? I was thinking of Chickawani.
Oh,
because he was on a hot streak too. I figured
different weight class. We're talking middleweight compared
70,
to
70, 55. Yeah, but both have fantastic stand up. Both of them fantastic stand up. So Jalen, Brad Riddle, Malarkey.
Well, that's the whole point. Is look at what Jalen did to Dan's teammate. I mean, he annihilated him. He smoked him. And you look and you go, hey, this kid's the real deal, and he's using he's got power. He's training with Pereira, all those guys. Training with Luke Rockhold, Cheeto, all of them. He's good. He is the new breed, man. And he at his size at 155, Josh. Mm-hmm. He creates so many problems. You talk about being able to big brother somebody. This guy can do it.
Scroll down a little bit there, Dave. Past Frivola. So see, he was in the UFC for a little bit there, and then he was having a hard time. Fought Vicente Luque. Mm-hmm. So he was having a hard time with guys that could grapple a little bit, guys that could threaten the takedowns, those guys. And then he's kind of remedied that situation a little bit, training at Ruka, bringing in. There's a lot of top level black belts that are right there, and then Ruka obviously being connected with the Mendez brothers. A lot of top talented jiu-jitsu guys that can come in there. Alan Goa's out of that Ruka gym, and some other good guys. Orlando, who just passed away. He was trained there all the time with Strickland and other guys. So look for him to, even if it does hit the ground, he's not the same fighter as he used to be from back in the day. He will start using his hook sweep, start threatening submissions, getting back to his feet and letting his hands and his feet go. So looking forward to seeing him fight, man. This is going to be a fun fight. 2 tall 55-pounders getting after it.
Super tall. Yeah. Crazy.
Next.
All right, we have a boxing fight that has been announced as well for February 26th, and it's Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, ESPN Plus, and Saudi Arabia.
All right, John, that's good. Okay, next. We've covered this fight like 2 or 3 times, and all 2 or 3 times it's fell off. So I feel like we should probably wait till it gets closer to the fight.
Yeah.
Someone brought up a good point though. Tommy Fury's talked a lot of trash, and Jake Paul's talked a lot of trash. But then there's a video just came out, and I just saw yesterday, of Jake Paul interviewing Tyson Fury, and they're joking and laughing and having a good time. So it's almost like this was all just lead up. It's all just lead up. It's all, it's all just, we understand. I mean, you build a fight. Now that the contract's signed, let's
sell the fight.
Let's sell it. Let's get it going. But I don't know, John.
You don't know.
I look at Jake. Jake should win this fight.
Yes, he should.
He should.
Yeah.
But do you think that Tommy's gonna take it serious? You think Tommy's gonna be out here really putting in that work, really, really trying to get a game plan together to beat Jake Paul?
Well, if you're Tommy Fury with a dad who's half crazy and to do crazy stuff, and you've got a brother in Tyson who probably is going to sit there and say, are you training? Are you doing things right? I think he has to. Yeah. But you take a look, and it's funny because I was watching the Rogan Experience, and he had Dave Portnoy on there from Barstool, and Portnoy is saying that Tommy Fury is not a boxer. And I go, have you lost your mind? Why don't you step in a ring with him, and we'll see how well you box with him. Look, he's got boxing skills. Yeah. Is he a guy that I think is a guy that can be a top level boxer? No, I don't think he cares about it enough. I don't think it's part of who he is. I think he does it based upon it gets him exposure. He's a reality kind of, TV kind of guy, just same as, Jake Paul. He's a YouTube influencer type of personality. And he has a brother in Tyson that can get him big money fights when he doesn't have to fight big money people. That is always a nice thing when you're fighting someone who's inferior to you. This is a fight. He's not fighting someone who's inferior to him. Jake Paul's got more power than Tommy. If you watch them both fight, he's proved that he can, knock people out. He's got a good right hand. Jake Paul can box. So can Tommy. It'll be a good fight, a good contest. I think in the end, though, that Jake Paul gets the win.
John, if I looked like Tommy Fury, I wouldn't be boxing, man.
That's why I say Tommy Fury doesn't want to box. He wants to be on the reality TV and stuff, but he can make good money. So hey,
that dude's a good-looking son of a bitch, man.
Yeah, he is. I don't like him
getting
much.
Punched in the face. Yeah, I'm a little jealous, man. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what else to say. It should be look, I'm looking forward to the lead up. I'm looking forward to. I like that type of stuff. When we're talking about these fights that are YouTube guys or just social media influencers that are fighting each other, it's more about the lead up. It's not about the fight. It's about the trash talk back and forth. It's about the energy. It kind of gets me pumped and excited for these fights. Oh, it's going to be fun. But then when you watch the fight, it's always the same thing. It's B-level boxing.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes even C with some of them, but I'll call this a B-level boxing match, but it's a lead up to it that gets me going on it. And then when you see the fight, it wasn't it, but it was fun. You get the fellas together, sit around, drink some beer, have a couple shots, and have some fun and laugh, get a good laugh in. And, and then I walk away from the evening going, hey man, I got a good night out with the fellas, got to watch some boxing, and now we can talk about it on the podcast. I don't look at these fights as any more than just that.
Well, this is, in my opinion, if you're going to look at Jake Paul, everyone, Jake has made his bones on fighting guys that aren't boxers. And, everyone's been saying you need to fight a boxer. Well, at least he can say, well, I'm fighting a boxer. This is all this guy has done. And if you're going to fight a boxer, fight one of the skill level of, talent level of Tommy Fury. That's a smart man. Jake Paul's doing it again as far as, look, Tommy can box. I'm not saying he can't box. He just is a guy that with a record of 8-0 who hasn't fought anybody. No one out there has really been, a fight for him. He's not looking to be that world champion boxer. And this is the perfect matchup, in my opinion, for Jake Paul to face a guy who is a boxer.
Yeah. True. We're going to see what happens, though. Both 6-1, 6-0, 1-8-0. Should be a fun fight. Yep. Next.
All right, let's hop into this story. Mir becoming the UFC ambassador for
good for her
wrestling, right?
She got the I have a hard time NIL deal. And
explain to me what an NIL deal is there, Josh.
Basically a sponsorship for college athletes so they can actually pay their bills and eat instead of getting paid $75 a week to fucking be there making, starving to death.
Yep.
I remember wrestling in college and I had to go to my friend's fraternity just to eat food because it was like they give you $75 a week to wrestle in college. It was like garbage. I think the football players got like 150. Like that's all you get for the week, and you can't have a job during season.
You can't have a job. Yeah, NC2A says you can't have a job. Yep.
So I know it's kind of changing the way that college is done. It's not kind of changed. It has changed the way that college athletes are perceived now, or what they're able to do. But fuck, this is awesome. She's wrestling at the University of Iowa.
Yep.
Where I think that's fantastic.
Well, and
she's crushing it. She's killing it.
The UFC has already sponsored an NIL deal with the entire team for Iowa. They're backing Iowa wrestling and stuff, and so this is a perfect match. Being that Frank Mir was someone who came up in the UFC, his daughter shows nothing but potential. Shows that she wants to be an MMA fighter after her wrestling career is over and stuff. And God bless her. She's a sweetheart of a girl. You know that, you know, she is such a good athlete. You know, and I screw with Frank all the time and say, man, your wife must be a hell of an athlete because your daughter is freaking unbelievable. And she had to get it from her because you don't have it. You know, we would joke and stuff, and it's so good. He is such a proud dad when it comes to Bella and what she's done, and he deserves to be because she's special, man. The first time he ever showed me wrestling, her Josh, he says, you know, have I ever shown you Bella wrestling? And I said, no. I said, I heard she's really good though. He goes, here, watch, and he gives me his phone, and she's wrestling a boy in a tournament, and she gets behind him and belly to back, German suplex, right? Boom. And the kid works to his feet, suplexes him 4 times. And I was like, you gotta be shitting me, right? And he goes, it's not bad, huh? I go, not bad, right? You know, she's good. She's really good.
Yeah. Is that she takes it very serious. There's nothing, when you talk to her, she's very quiet. Oh, yeah. She kind of just keeps to herself. Nothing like Frank. And she's very humble. Like I said, nothing like Frank.
Nothing like
But
Frank.
she understands what she needs to do, man. I love the fact that he's her biggest cheerleader.
Oh, yes.
I can't remember where we were, but Frank was there. And Frank's wife was there too. Remember we all went to go have lunch somewhere. And the whole time, Bella this.
We were in California.
Bella this. Bella this, Bella that, Bella this. And it was just nonstop. And I thought I just sat back and was just watching. And I'm thinking to myself, that's like, I can't say like, I almost felt like proud. It was like, this is really cool to see. Like a dad pitch for his kid, you know, and just, especially his daughter, just being like, and in a sport that you very, like most dads would try to talk their daughters out of. No, he's like, no. She's doing this. She's doing that. She's grappling. She's doing tournaments. She's doing that. I'm like, and she's made no bones about it, man. She plans on being an MMA fighter.
Oh, hold on, time out. She doesn't plan on
she's already, you know, but I'm saying like life after.
She plans on college, being a MMA world champion.
Yes,
that's what she
plans on. She plans on taking this to the next level after college. Yeah. You know, you could say it's fun. It's fun to do it when you're younger. It's fun to do jiu-jitsu tournaments and wrestling matches and all those things when you're younger. When you get out of college, you get a degree, and you're like, I can get a real job making this without getting punched in the face. No. That's not what she wants. She's like, I want to do this. I want to, and I'm happy for her. I'm glad that she's living. She's going to be living her dream. She's got a great father who has all this knowledge to share with her. And from what I can see, she seems to listen to a lot of what he says, you know, and I believe Frank's wife was his manager towards the end of his career, like for a majority of his later half of his career. And so, I mean, they've already got a built-in manager. It's like, I'm happy for her. I just wanted to make sure we gave her due. This is a big deal. And I'm happy for her, and hopefully, everything works out in college. Great wrestling, keep doing it, keep grinding, and we're proud of you. I think everyone's proud of you, man. It's great stuff.
Absolutely.
So, next.
All right, let's talk about this one and get you guys' thoughts on it. Conor had put out something saying he was asked to go on to TUF, but didn't specify who he'd be opposite on there, and he'd go back and coach TUF and posted a picture about his original experience and all that. And then now Tony came out, and Tony Ferguson, and said he's been asked to be on TUF opposite Conor. So now he's kind of giving away the juice where Conor wasn't. But what do you guys think about that potential of that happening?
I'm interested. You have Tony and McGregor, and at the end they fight each other.
Yeah.
At least one of them is going to get a win.
Well, I would tell you this. There will be unbelievable buildup because Tony will not back down from Conor in any of the shit talk. You know he's going to be after him and stuff. Tony's real. But I'd look at it, and I'm being honest. I don't think, Conor truly wants to fight anymore. You sit there and say what he wants, but, he's making big money. It's not like money's ever a problem. And when you look at getting yourself back into the gym and fighting, training for that fight. I'm not saying he's not training. He trains now, and he'll go in the gym. but it's fun to go in the gym when it's not training and you're just, you're sparring with someone, anything. That's all fun. That's, that's not what a training camp is. A training camp sucks. And I look and I go, I'm just not too sure. And when you don't have that 100% focus, things don't go well for you. And I think Conor has a ton of advantages over Tony. I'm just being honest. If they fought in the stand-up, Conor has slowed down. You can't say that he hasn't. There's a little bit of a marked difference in his speed, which creates a difference in, how he's able to get in on guys. But Tony has slowed down too. So Conor would be fast for Tony. But if the fight hits the ground, Tony can create a lot of problems for him, and Tony will create problems with just the funky style and things that he does. The kicks of Conor, we're going to see what they are. I would tell you he has an advantage there. But after coming off of the leg injury, it might not be an advantage because it may hurt him to kick with that leg. It's an interesting contrast. I'm not too sure that I see the UFC doing it. But I would think that, Conor gets more spark off of Michael Chandler than he does off of Tony Ferguson.
I would agree with you that he gets more spark off the Michael Chandler thing, but I also think that they really are trying to get him a win.
Okay.
And I actually think Tony beats Conor, though. I think the ability...
Possibility.
Because a lot of it comes down to the leg. The movement will be the same. Like you did say, he did slow down. Tony has slowed down also.
Sure.
But Tony... the funkiness will give Conor a little bit of a problem, like the moving around, the switching the stance, the punches, the kicks coming from different angles.
Well,
now
just being
Conor's
a guy that'll switch into an Imanari role at any time.
Yeah,
that's Tony. Tony will do the funky things that a lot of guys will not because they don't want to have Conor in a position over him. And you look and you go, Tony doesn't give a shit.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't care at all. So when I look at that fight, I'm like, obviously, I'm gonna lean more towards Tony just because of the inactivity. How's the leg? Conor's coming off 2 losses. He's a very confidence-driven type fighter. Like he needs to have, I dominated, or he's got to have the trash talk to go along with all the wins that he's accumulated. Whereas Tony, I think it gets in his head that he hasn't won a fight in a while. But he also is someone that he does things that not everyone can do. His fighting style is very funky, and that's going to pose some problems for. And I think in that clinch, and I've said this before, that Conor McGregor in the clinch is not a great fighter. Tony in the clinch is a dirty dog.
Yeah,
he will elbow the shit out of your face. He will knee you. He will try to shuck you down and guillotine you. He will do whatever he can in that clinch. He's a dirty, grimy, not like a dirty isn't meaning to be, but he's a gritty, dirty fighter in there. He's after it. He's not fucking around. And he'll do anything to cut you up. And I mean, I got scars, man. My hair's balding because of it. At least that's what I like to blame it on. Okay. But I've got scars all over my head because of him from one fight. I mean, if he goes back to a little bit of them elbows and that clinch and that griminess, Conor against the cage, you take away all of his weapons. He's so worried about defending the takedown, and he doesn't fight well in a phone booth. He fights well at distance. He's not the same fighter, and I think that's the way you beat him. And I think Tony has all those tools to do it if he fights smart. We'll see.
Yeah, see, I look at it, and I think Conor has the advantage of the fight. And just coming back, there's been some time. Yes, there are some questions about the leg and things like that. I think Conor's going to win that fight.
But, John, I have a plate in my leg.
Yeah,
I couldn't kick with it anymore. There's nothing. I've got 9 screws in a plate, and I couldn't kick. I used to rip the body kicks in my first Gilbert fight. After I broke it, I couldn't kick anymore to the body. It hurts. Anytime you hit with the foot, anytime you hit with the toes, it was almost like a calf kick. I couldn't put my foot down. Yeah. I couldn't put my foot down all the way. I had to just kind of limp on it for a little bit if I caught it wrong. So I just stopped kicking with it because the last thing you want is to show your opponent that you hurt yourself there. It's painful, so, but I agree that Conor should have the advantage.
Yeah.
But what Conor are we going to see after the plate? Will he kick as much? If he doesn't kick as much, he had a big advantage with the kicks. Then if Tony fights smart, if he gets him against the fence, if he grinds on him, hangs on him, tries to get to the guillotine, elbows and knees and clinches and just grimy and make it dirty like that, I think that Tony's got the advantage. So it really comes down to who can implement their game plan to see which one of us is right. Come on, Tony. Don't let me down. Don't let me down, Tony. Plus, I'm a Tony fan, so I gotta root for my boy here.
I'm obviously a Tony fan, but you just take a look and time takes a lot away from guys, and it's tough to keep those levels up.
Very true. All right, next.
All right, let's hop into this one here. Beneil Dariush saying the UFC's targeting a fight between him and Charles Oliveira. Oliveira did also post something about one more fight and then the title shot, so it's seeming like this is a good probability.
What does the headline say there? Beneil Dariush reveals UFC is targeting Charles Oliveira fight in May. Explains why he believes he'll get passed over for the next title shot.
You could just be thinking that, even if he beats Oliveira, he's still going to get...
No.
He's still going to find a way to get...
Can't. If he beats Oliveira, it really doesn't matter whether it's Islam or Alex. Mm-hmm. He's got to get the next shot because he's been up there at that high level for too long.
Yeah.
And
I think I could say that it depends on how he beats Charles. If he just... If it lulls people to sleep, if we see a fight like Rose and Cookie Monster,
you can't have that fight.
There's no way these two guys are going to deliver that fight. Yeah, I get it.
No.
But I'm just speaking hypothetically here.
Yeah, okay.
If we were to see a fight where he just pressed Charles to the fence and hung out on him and just try to ink out the rounds, which Dariush is not capable of.
Yeah,
and Charles is a guy that just tries to walk you down, lifts the high leg, and then throw the combinations and whatever. These two guys are going to meet in the middle. Someone's going to get fucked up. I don't think this fight goes longer than 2 rounds. I
would honestly think it's over by the second round, somewhere in the second round. Yeah.
Yep. Someone's going to get knocked out or someone's going to get submitted or something's going to happen. This fight I don't think is going past 2 rounds. This is going to be fucking just straight fireworks. That's the way I look at this fight. I don't see if that happens. If Dariush wins, I don't see how. I just don't see how they skip him over.
I don't either.
Outside of a controversial draw at 155 with...
Boom.
That's it.
You get Islam and Alex having some great fight and it ends up a draw or something. Yeah, they'll run it back. But
which I want to squash those things right now because Islam's just gonna. I don't think that fight's gonna get out of the third round. I don't think it's gonna get out of the third round.
Boy, don't jump too deep into that fucking pool. I agree with you that Islam is the favorite. He's going to have his hands full. There's all kinds of things going on with that. And I look and I go, Islam is a beast. So is Alex.
Mm-hmm.
That's a champion that knows how to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a dogfight.
John.
Yeah. I want everyone to remember John said that it was going to be a dogfight with Charles. That didn't work out. It wasn't a dogfight. No. I look at it and Alex coming out saying that I've put on so much muscle and I'm feeling stronger than ever. God, he
gets a hold of me. He has no idea how strong I am. And it's like, I read that and I was like, no. Alex, you have no idea how strong he is.
You have no idea how strong he is. He's going to grab you and you're going to be like, oh shit, I'm like the Chihuahua in this relationship.
Well, it's funny because I can't remember who I was talking to, but we were talking about Islam and, guys that, he's, training with. And I said, it doesn't matter even now who he's training with. I go, look at the guys. I said, this is a guy he trained with heavyweight guys at, AKA and did really well, made him look bad. I go, people have no idea how strong and how dominating he is from the top position. I said, I've never really seen him on his back. And I said, but Josh tells me all the time, look, way better as far as the submission game than Khabib. And Khabib was good, off of his back. It's just he never was there. So, except against Gaethje when he wanted to be.
Yeah, Islam, same thing. Like he gets off his back, he'll attack submissions, but he'll go right to like an X guard sweep and he'll just lift you up There's nothing you can do with. And for the weight class, he's about 6 foot. He's 5'11", close to 6 foot. He's a tall guy. So when he starts stretching you out as a lightweight, you're like, you have no base in that X guard position, or he'll hook sweep you because he's so damn strong. He'll just get a good position on the shoulder or the overhook, and he'll just tuck the wrist, and his legs, they're just freakishly strong. He just hook sweep you, boom, on top, and the rest is history. You're not getting up from underneath him. So I took a lot away from the Sarukian fight with him. And that's that fight when I watched Sarukian, even though I know Islam was feeling a little under the weather, but Sarukian did a lot of good things that had nothing to do with conditioning and strength and technique, and it had all to do with the technique.
Yeah,
and Sarukian showed me how damn good he is. And that's why when I started pitching on him 4 fights ago or whatever it was, after that fight, I said, this kid, he's going to be a title contender, at least here, or if not the champion, and his mindset is that he's going to be champion. Plus he's still a baby. I think he's like 24, 25 years old. He's young. And
you see that he's calling out Michael Chandler too.
I love that fight.
I was like, I think Chandler's at 5 and then Sarukian's somewhere around 8.
Yeah.
And I go, Michael, walk away.
Stay away. Don't even comment. Don't even comment on that guy. Walk away.
That's it.
Did you see what the comment was?
No.
Did you see? He was listening to our podcast. He said, the guy with the lowest fight IQ in the world, where are you at, Michael Chandler?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
walk away. It's not worth that. Not worth it on that one.
No, I think Saruki and Gamrot, those are the 2 guys that Chandler needs to stay away from. Both those guys. Next.
Definitely Sarukian.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. So we are all going to be together this week in LA for Bellator. So I am going to find a way to incorporate all you guys who post a question for us, find a way to incorporate those questions in some other form of media this week. So make sure you guys are subscribed, have that bell. We may end up doing a live stream. It may be spontaneous. It may be planned. So just make sure you guys know that you guys are subscribed and have the bell so that you know when we post anything on YouTube.
This is kind of a week for you guys to make sure you guys hit that bell. There will be some shows that we drop throughout the week because it's Bellator week, but there's also a lot of legends coming to watch Fedor fight. So we're going to be capturing some footage with them, some conversations with them, whatever it is. But on top of that, whatever fighters are there, there's going to be the who's who is going to be at this fight on CBS for Bellator because it is Fedor's last fight. And so there's a lot of people there. And we're just going based off of, I've talked to Scott Coker, I've talked to CBS, and John and I, we've all sat in meetings where fighters from out of the woodwork, from fighters that are current now that have been all requesting tickets. They all want to come to this fight because it's Fedor's last fight. This is a part of history when you start talking about when Randy Couture was his last fight, Chuck Liddell his last fight.
Randy Couture will be there.
Yeah, Randy Couture will be there, and Mark Coleman will be there. There's fighters that have all come up fighting against Fedor, or guys that were scheduled to fight against Fedor and it never came to fruition, or guys that just never had the opportunity but admired him and looked up to him, and guys that came up in the Pride era that just really fought on the same cards, but just never with the same weight class, but understood how nice he was, how great of a person he was, and an ambassador he was for the sport. So expect us to get some conversations with some people that are there. We're flying podcast Dave out there. We're going to have extra footage drop. So make sure you guys hit that bell, hit the thumbs up. Guys, pay attention. Also, drop on our Clips channel. So go down to our Clips channel, hit the subscribe button and the bell there because we're going to do some little shorter stuff on that Clips channel also. So there'll be a lot of content, a lot of extra content for you guys this week and early next week that we're going to be filming there in LA. So we want to thank you guys for continuing to support us. And John, I think, are we done yet, Dave? Is this what we're doing? Or are we going to do a couple fan questions right now?
No, we're going to save them for. I don't want to do like 1 or 2 and then not get to everybody. So we're going to save them and put them on something else.
You don't have like one best one? You don't have like one best one? Give me one best one, Dave.
No. Give me one best one.
Oh,
I am a nightmare. I want these fans to give me one best one. Did you read any of them, Dave? Hey, look at that very top one right there.
I've gone through them.
What's that?
All right. Brian T asks for both of y'all. Hey, Big Josh and John the Punk, with all these title announcements, we have 8 title fights. all by April. I definitely love to see it, and I'm excited for it, but I feel a bit overwhelmed and prefer them a bit more spread out. How do you guys feel about the many title fights we're getting within the next
Hello, the more the better. If you're sitting there saying, oh, it's too much, come on, brother. Step up your game, man. Of course, the more title fights I get to see means the better the competition is. I love that. So, sorry, I don't agree with you on that one. I want to see all the title fights.
Yeah, there's like an old saying that goes around. It's called first world problems. Like this is like a first world problem. You're presenting first world problems.
Yeah.
Like there's so many good things going on that we're just making up shit to bitch about. Brian T, suck it up, baby boy.
Suck it up, baby.
We're gonna take this first.
Suck
6
it
months
up,
by
Buttercup,
storm.
man. Be happy.
Yes, this is gonna be a great 6 months. First 6 months, because it will slow down during the summer. Look, promotions understand that during the summer, the kids are out of school, families are traveling, less people are watching TV, less people are paying for pay-per-views. So they try to cram it all in before Memorial Day weekend. And then during the summer, they slow it down. And then once school starts back up in September, they ramp it back up. It's a vicious cycle. It's almost like the gym cycle. You know, New Year's Eve resolutions, and they go until Memorial Day weekend. Everyone gets fit for that weekend out there on the beach. And then the summers kind of slow down a little bit, right, at the gyms because people are out enjoying the outdoors. And they ramp back up when the kids are back in school. Parents are back on schedule. The gyms get popping again. Very similar to pay-per-views. Yeah. So, look, thank you guys so much. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. Hit that bell because, like I said, extra content coming your guys' way. Go to WayneInMerch.com. Pick up some of our clothing. Also, there's new hats, new shirts, new designs. John, show us that shirt, please.
Come on, baby. Take a look at that. Yeah, that's a beautiful,
Weighing In
nice
podcast.
Big old weighing in podcast. Come on.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. But hey, don't forget this Saturday is Bellator on CBS. It is free. All you guys complaining about Showtime this, Showtime that. Well, there's no Showtime for this show. Make sure you guys tune in for Fedor's retirement fight against Ryan Bader. And Johnny Eblen, the new crown king in the middleweight division, is fighting
a stud in Anatoly Tokov at 31-2. Dude is unbelievably good. That's going to be a fantastic fight.
And don't tune in late because the fight that's going to open up that card is Homasi versus Brennan Ward. And so Homasi has got the power and Brennan Ward has got the wrestling and the power. The two of them are going to clash in the middle and it's going to be fireworks. I don't see that fight getting outside of 2.5, 3 minutes. Ooh. That'll be a fun.
You didn't even say one round.
Hey, I'm going to say 1 round. I'm going to say inside of one. I'm going to say that.
You said way inside. You said half.
Inside. Yeah, half. I said half. Okay. So also that prelim card is stacked. That'll be available on Bellator YouTube. Check it out there. There's a stacked prelim card. Some great fights on there. So check that out. And John, take us away.
Hey, for everyone out there, there's a lot of good fights coming up. You have got to tune in to, like Josh said, CBS, February 4th. You'll see a legend walking away no matter what. Win or lose, he's going to walk away. It's the only time you will ever be able to see Fedor fight again. So you got to see it. So for everyone out there, tune in and we will see you.